Senator Paterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, colleagues, I was going to begin my contribution to this debate by pointing out that the real authors and owners of this decision are those opposite, because, of course, it was under their legislation, it was under their hand-picked commissioners that this decision was made. But once again, Senator Back has outdone me, and I could not possibly match his elaborate metaphor or simile, as Senator Moore pointed out, so I won't go there. But I do note for the record that this decision was made entirely under legislation authored by those opposite. It was made by people predominantly appointed by those opposite, and particularly by the Leader of the Opposition. I want to focus on why the Labor Party has walked away from their support for the independent umpire when it comes to setting wages. Because, as Senator Moore just said, they respect the independent umpire, just not when they make decisions like this, just not when the independent umpire makes decisions they disagree with. And it occurred to me that that was very similar to an argument that was made in the media last week by another person associated with this debate, and that's the new head of the ACTU, Sally McManus. She said we should abide by the law unless, of course, we don't agree with the law. Laws should be abided by as long as we agree with them, but if we disagree with them, we think they're unjust, then we shouldn't abide by them. This is the modern union movement. This is the modern Labor Party. We'll abide by decisions of the independent umpire if we agree with them. We'll abide by the law if we agree with it. But if we don't, we'll go and do our own thing. So take that into account next time you hear that they support the independent umpire. I'm looking forward to further contributions in this debate, because one thing I haven't heard yet from those opposite is why they think Sunday is more special than a Saturday. I agree. People who are working on a weekend should be paid more. That's a fair and reasonable thing, and this decision will preserve that. But what's special about a Sunday that differentiates it from a Saturday? Of course, the historical reason that Sundays and Saturdays were treated differently is because the Sunday is the Sabbath, and many people of religious faith believe that it's not moral to work on the Sabbath and it should be prevented, or if it can't be prevented, at least should be penalised and discouraged, as penalty rates do. Surely the modern Labor Party at the 21st century, multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-religious Australia is not seriously saying that people who have no special religious observance on a Sunday should be penalised if they want to open their small business, should be penalised if they want to employ someone. But I look forward to hearing from them why Sunday is so special compared to Saturday. Of course, the Labor Party is not opposed to cuts in penalty rates, full stop. They're only opposed to penalty rates being cut when it's done by the Fair Work Commission. If it's done by a union in negotiation with a business, they could actually be quite happy about that. In fact, you will rarely hear them come here and talk about the union deals with big business that trade away penalty rates. As we've seen in the media today, and as Senator Brandis and Senator Cash pointed out in their answers to questions today, there are, in fact, union-negotiated EBAs which don't just cut Sunday penalty rates a little bit, don't just temper them a little bit or bring them into line with Saturday rates, but actually cut them quite radically. The KFC EBA reduces it from $29.16 an hour, which is what's required under the award, to only $21.19 an hour, an $8 an hour cut. The McDonald's EBA similarly reduces it from $29.16 an hour to $21.08 an hour, a very significant cut. I haven't yet heard any of those opposite criticise the unions that negotiated those deals, and perhaps that says something, because a modern union leader cares much more about the number of members they have and the amount of money they have than what their members are paid. Because for a modern union leader, what really matters is the influence that comes from having more members and more money. It gives you more votes in internal Labor Party forums. It gives you more money to spend on campaigns to ensure your mates are elected to federal parliament, to ensure perhaps you yourself one day will leave the union and enter the federal parliament. And so they're willing to do deals with big business that cut workers' pay in exchange, sometimes, as we've heard, in the case of Clean Event and Chiquita Mushrooms, for financial payments from those unions, or perhaps in other cases, in other industries, cosy relationships with big businesses like Woolworths, big businesses like Coles, big businesses like McDonald's and KFC, who are very happy to have a cosy relationship with the union that helps facilitate union membership, that encourages their employees to join unions in exchange for a favourable deal that allows them to pay those workers less. Well, I don't know why a union that really had the best interests of its members at heart would agree to that deal. The only reason they would is if there was a benefit to them as union officials rather than to their union members. It brings me very neatly to the reforms proposed by Senator Cash today, and I commend them in the future to this chamber.
Thank you, Senator Paterson.